absolutely freezing out there this morning. Hello and welcome to my studio. My name is Derek. I'm a professional stained glass artist and I make inspirational videos and tutorials for you, the creative community. And today I thought I'd make a video slightly different. This is a live project that I'm actually working on just now for a school over in Birmingham in the UK. It's a big 3-light window with tracery panels above, and within those tracery panels are coats of arms. And one of the coats of arms looks a little bit like this. Let me take my hat off. It's quite a complicated coat of arms, and as you can see there are lots of different colours in it. So I thought I'd make a tutorial video with you showing you how I actually make this. This is going to be on a single piece of glass, so it brings into play lots of the techniques that I've made other tutorial videos on. So working with enamels, working with dipping pens, working with silver stain, and working with brushes. And if you're interested in learning more about all of those specific areas, I've got videos for you. I'll try and link as many as I can in the description below. So without any further ado, let's get into making this crest in glass. So here is the printed version of the design. We're just securing it to the light table so that it doesn't move around during the painting process. And I've marked up the glass so that I know the design is going to be central on the piece of glass and it doesn't move around. I'm using a pre-made mixture of clove oil, lavender oil and paint mixture with a brush to start with, because I want to just paint some of the larger lines, some of the thicker lines with a brush before we move on to using a dipping pen. So the brush does help to speed up the process of working with thicker lines, but now I'm moving on to the dipping pen for the more detailed lines. And again, if you want a further tutorial, a more in-depth tutorial, I'll leave links at the end of this video where you can watch a much more in-depth tutorial on the preparation of the paints for working with dipping pens. They're really useful pieces of kit because you can get really detailed thin lines just using a dipping pen. So this is the first draft, and as you can see it's by no means perfect. There are lots of areas that are missing, etc. So we have to fill those areas in. And the first thing to do before we fill that in is to put it into the kiln, and I fire the glass up to about 300 degrees and then let it cool down. That's below the temperature for the paint to fire, but it does allow the paint to dry and it gets rid of all of the oil reserves on it, and we can then scratch it back in the way that we would scratch back a traditional painted line that we use just with water. So I'm now adding some of the text again with the dipping pen, and again we will put this into the kiln and dry it off and scratch it back so we tidy up all of the lines. So here we go, back into the kiln again, just very quickly to prepare the paint for scratching back. And you can see here little residues of oil and things like that are starting to leach out of the paint as it's heated up. So we've scratched it back and we've fired it in the kiln, and we're now preparing our enamels. So this is some Reusche translucent or transparent blue enamel. I'll leave links in the description below to the exact enamels I'm using, and I'm badgering it with a badger brush. And then I'm using some scrub brushes, as you can see here, a variety of different scrub brushes and a porcupine quill to scratch back the enamel. So once we've badgered the enamels, we then let it dry, and then we use our scrub brushes to remove the excess areas of enamel that we don't need. And to clean that up, again, we're using little cotton buds dipped in water to get rid of the remaining pieces of enamel that we don't want, so that we're revealing the colors that we do want. So we're progressing with this crest. There are 2 firings of red enamel on the dragon, 2 firings of blue enamel on the inscription at the bottom here and the plume at the top, and then there's also 2 enamel firings of the fleur-de-lis part of the shield itself. There's 1 firing of red enamel to the lion rampant here, and the belt and buckle with the inscription has had 1 firing. So we're going to add to that now. We're going to create a green here. So we're going to create that green effect by adding yellow silver stain to the back of the blue enamel here. That's why we've only got one firing of the blue on here, because I want it to be a slightly paler blue, not as dense as this. So the stain I'll be using today is Reusche. It's an orange 1, which is product number 1382. This is the mid-tone yellow, and we're going for this kind of coloring here, which is not really a strong orange. It's more a sort of a yellow ochre, a mid-tone yellow, and we're trying to get that yellow into this blue area here to create this green effect. So the silver stain is now dry, so we're just going to start carefully scratching back areas that we don't want silver stain to be on. So now that we've cleaned most of the stain off of the areas that we don't need, you've got obviously residue stain left. So if you use things like little cotton buds dipped in a little bit of water, you can then continue to sort of clean the last of this stain off, because even small amounts of stain like this can leave an impression on the glass and can leave a yellow mark on the glass. So you want to try and remove any stain that you don't particularly want off the glass before it gets fired. And here is the finished piece of glass. So this piece of glass is now going to be leaded into the tracery panel as part of this larger project, and it's going to be installed in a few weeks' time, and hopefully I'll be able to show you the finished thing when it's in its location soon. So if you want to learn more about enamels, check out this video here, and if you want to learn about dipping pens and how to use them, check out this video here. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join the channel if you feel like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.